In this section 2.4a, we are configuring dial plan for HQ. So the requirement is that the users at HQ should be able to make a local call by dialing PSTN access code 9, followed by any 7-digit, and of that 7-digit, the first 3-digit has to be between 2-9, the remaining being 0-9. The PSTN provider is expecting a call number to contain 7-digit without PSTN access code, so therefore no 9 can be sent to the service provider. The number type and the plan type should be set to ISDN and subscriber respectively. The calling number should at least should be the last 7-digit of the 11-digit DID or globalized DID. Okay, so as you read this, there are a bunch of requirements. First of all, you need to be able to dial by 9. The number should be between 2-9 on the first 3-digit after 9. And the number type should be ISDN and subscriber. The calling number should be should be displayed as the last 7-digit of your globalized number. So that's your local call. Requirement for long distance, pretty much the same, except that you must dial 1 followed by 3-digit NANP code, which is 2-9, followed by 7-digit remaining number, with the first of these digit must be between 2 to 9. Again, same thing, it must have call number should be showed as a 10-digit, so you are sending the calls as a 10-digit number rather than 11-digit. Plan type and number type should be ISDN national. The calling number should be the last 10-digit of the globalized number. To test a long distance call, you should dial 1408, basically the PSTN line 1, where the X could be XXX could be represent any digit on the PSTN phone. For HQ long international call, exactly very similar, except that you are not to send the 011 to the service provider. So you cannot send the international access code. The number type should be set to ISDN followed by international. The calling number should display as E.164 number, which is a globalized number, and it is not necessary to press the pound key or hash key to make an international call. All these three type of calls, along with 911 call, must be served by a single route pattern. You may not add any other route pattern in the HQ cluster during this particular lab unless question involving SIP trunking on a later case. So we must use local route group concept. So in order to first configure that, what you need to do is make sure, so right now we are on HQ, so we have 2 physical phone and then there's 2 dummy phone called ignore. And as you can see, they belong to a device pool called HP DP_HP. So let's click on that device pool, and what we need to make sure that this device pool has something called local route group assigned to local route group for HQ gateway. Now once this part is done, make sure you remove from the route pattern any existing 911 dial pair that you had from previous lab, because we are going to make sure that this is all served by a single pattern. So to achieve this, so that's the first task. Then create a route list. Let's call this RL PSTN SLRG. We have standard local route group. Make sure it is enabled and make sure it is set to run on all active node. Now next step is to create class of service, so partition. Now we're going to need a bunch of partition. So first of all, you need PTHQ PSTN. So I'm going to duplicate this to show you the message configuration. So this partition PTHQ PSTN is going to be applied right here on my route pattern, the plus symbol, because you can only configure a single route pattern to achieve these 3 or 4 tasks. So I have a single route pattern \+ exclamation mark. The route partition is PTHQ PSTN. So that's the first task. Then this partition PTHQTP is applied to all the pattern that configured on the translation pattern. So all our route pattern that is supposed to be route pattern is now actually translation pattern, that it starts with 9. And this is the partition we're going to apply on the translation pattern. Then you have a bunch of other requirement. One of them is called PT called. PT called will be used to apply at called party transformation pattern. So a bunch of called party transformation pattern will be created, and this is where the PT called will be used. Oops. Partition. Then you have other remote ANI, which will be used for different purposes. Our next step is to create calling source space. So you go ahead and create calling source space. One is called CSS PSTN. CSS PSTN contains PTHQ PSTN, and CSS PSTN will be applied to all my translation patterns. If any of this pattern that I have is going to have the calling source space CSS PSTN. So basically, after the conversion, it allows you to reach the route pattern. Second, you need CSS phone, which should have PT translation pattern, and that is applied to each individual phones that we have. And these phones should be able to dial the translation pattern, which is right here. So they should be able to dial this partition. Now, we also create a calling source space called CSS called, which contains the PT called. Remember, PT call is applied in transformation call party right here, and this partition must be, our calling source space must be applied to your voice gateway right here, where it says called party transformation CSS called, and CSS called will allow you to make sure the plus sign is removed before it goes out. All right, so now first task, go to route pattern. We're going to create one single route pattern \+ exclamation mark. This is the partition called PTHQ PSTN that should be accessible by the by the translation pattern. It's pointing to the local route group. Make sure urgent priority is set. And then it provides a nice outside dial tone. So if you do not provide the urgent priority, you will experience interdigit timeout for every call. The translation pattern will pass all of the digit in unblock, such as +1408, 5, 021111 in case of a local call. Now, since the route pattern ends with the exclamation mark, CUCM will wait for T302 timer, which is interdigit timeout from the service parameter. It will expire before routing the call, and this is why it is so important to mark the route pattern with an urgent priority. Alright, so that's your first route pattern, and only at this time this should be the only route pattern that you have. Alright, so next step is to create a translation pattern, and this is what actually user dial, the 911. You dial that number, you block this number using a partition called PTHQTP. This is the partition belongs to the calling source space that is applied to the phone. So when you dial that, you are saying, okay, this translation pattern can use the CSS PSTN partition, calling source space, which allows the process to reach the route pattern that has partition applied. So basically, the translation process itself requires CSS to reach the final number. Now, we are going to use external phone number mask, but only the last 10 digit will be forwarded. So it's again one of the requirements is that now for the 911 pattern, we must make sure the calling number type is set to unknown, number plan type is set to unknown. And for prefix digit, we're going to add the plus sign. So basically what is happening is if you dial 911, it's going to convert it to plus 911. And we want to make sure that this plus 911 is actually matching the plus sign route pattern that we have. So that is your ultimate goal, is to match that pattern. And it does match that pattern. Okay, so once this is done, now for the similar pattern, we must create what we call is call party transformation pattern. Called. You select that, you go to \++.911 because we do not want to send the plus sign to the service parameter. So we put the dot in there, and then we said discard digit pre-dot. How does the gateway knows how to use this? Well, based on the partition that is mapped to the calling source space that is applied to the gateway. Okay, so that is your 911 pattern. So again, the call party number type, calling party number type should be set to unknown. So now, once this is, this is your call party transformation. Yeah, so you will remove the plus and send 911 to the service provider. All right, so now let's go to our type debug ISDN Q931. So this is my PSTN phone. From here, I will dial 911. As you can see, successfully reaching the 911, and caller ID is the last 10 digit, and my name goes out, or the phone names goes out as normal. So here is the information. So your caller ID remains same, 10 digit number. This is the extension you dial. Although it has a plus sign in a call manager, but before the call goes out, the plus sign is removed. So that is your first route pattern. Second route pattern that we're going to work on is under first thing first, translation pattern. and this is the second one, 2-9, 9.2-9 followed by 6 access, and then again partition it with PTHQ TP, which will be accessible by the IP phone. Calling source space CSS PSTN. Because this is 7-digit, we're going to send the last 7 digit of the external phone number mask. Number type should be set to subscriber. Plan type is set to ISDN. And we're going to convert this drop 9 because of this pre-dot and add plus, so it will be like plus followed by the 7-digit number. So once this is done, you will go back to call party, select your pattern, put the dot after the plus and say pre-dot, so that will remove the pre-dot, and subscriber number type should be subscriber, and call party numbering plan should be set to ISDN. With that information, now if I were to dial 14085021111, calls out successfully, and as you can see the call goes out 10-digit as opposed to 11-digit number. So caller ID is 10-digit. So now let's dial local number rather. Okay, so the local number, caller ID is local 7-digit, and is a subscriber. Okay, so now next step is to configure one for translation pattern for long distance. Oh, for that 7-digit pattern, when we dial that 7-digit, we want to send the last 7-digit of the number, subscriber, number type. We're going to add the plus sign, and your calling party transformation mask should be the last 7-digit of your external phone number mask. Now once the plus sign is added, you go to call party, select the similar pattern, put a plus sign at the beginning, and say discard digit means remove the plus sign before the call goes to the PSTN. Number type should be subscriber, plan type should be ISDN. Now with that information, okay, it's going out as 7-digit, number type, plan type. Okay, so for long distance, we have this pattern 9 followed by 1 then 1-9 in bracket and the remaining format. Again, the same similar process concept. The calling party number transformation mask should be 10-digit. We're changing the call party number type to national. Plan numbering plan is ISDN, and the discard digit will be set to pre-dot, and we're going to add the plus sign. Again, the same thing, number type and numbering plan. Now once this is created, your next job is to create call party with okay, so long distance pattern, same partition, calling source space, caller ID is 11 digit, national, ISDN, and add the plus sign. So once it's plus sign is added, and it's going to remove the 9. So this is the one we're going to use. You can be more specific if you want, but I'm just going to put it simple. \+1 dot exclamation mark, partition, pre-dot, discard digit pre-dot, national, and ISDN. So with that information, if I were to dial out, call is going out successful, 10-digit caller ID, 10-digit call number. Okay, going back to translation pattern. This is my international. Which is 09011 dot exclamation mark. Same procedure, exactly same, except discard digit pre-dot and the prefix digit is just a plus. Okay, so you dial that, it will get converted. Go to call party, is going to match this plus the plus sign. Same partition, calling type, number type should be international, numbering plan should be ISDN, pre-dot. Okay, so let's test the international. Okay, you can see it's working. I'm not sending the 011, so I'm only sending the leading digit. I'm not sending leading digit instead. The number type set international, and is ISDN. All right, so that wraps up our dial plan for 2.4a.